book a slot and see court proceedings in Australian High Court. Australian High Court is the highest authority in Australia. So we are in front of High Court of Australia. We're now inside National Portrait Gallery and hope to show you around a little bit. Campbell's. Look at this mask. This is actually a mask from Torres Strait Island. This painting is done by Russell Drysdale, an Australian artist. And this is a very famous painting called Drover's Wife. There are 200 of them between 1788 and 1988. That was the 200 years of occupation of Australia. We have a very nice dinosaur looking at us. Highlights was the view of Canberra from Mount Ainslie, and it is very livable, and so we enjoyed immensely visiting Canberra for a few days. Hello again and welcome to the channel, and this is our third day in Canberra, and it has been a fantastic tour so far, and this is going to be our last day. And look at where we are. This is a fantastic precinct. It's near Parliament, and it has got the portrait gallery in my background. And then we have High Court of Australia here. That building is High Court of Australia. And we are planning to visit the National Gallery, and then we'll continue with our day. So as you can see, this is such a bright day. We have been extremely lucky with weather. So let's join us and continue our tour. Few more interesting locations to visit in Canberra. Just opposite to this portrait gallery, as you can see, we have visited. That's the old Parliament building, the white building. We don't have much time, but you can actually go inside and book a slot and see court proceedings in Australian High Court. Australian High Court is the highest authority in Australia. So we are in front of High Court of Australia. Not like in India, Supreme Court is the highest, but in Australia, High Court is the highest, even above the Supreme Court. And next to High Court, we have this National Portrait Gallery, gigantic museums all across the city, and all are free. So unbelievable setup here in Canberra. Visiting National Portrait Gallery and High Court of Australia, also on the other side Treasury Building, and also the old Parliament House. These are the majestic buildings very close to each other. In Canberra, close to each other means you have to walk like 10-15 minutes if you want to go from one building to another building. Wide roads require time to cross. If you're walking around, a lot of walk in Canberra if you want to visit all of these. But these are all individually top items in Canberra if you can have time to visit individually.
Not only wide roads, the areas around the buildings, like the forecourts, are huge. Like it's maybe 5 times the size of the buildings itself.
Since day before yesterday, we have been averaging 25,000 steps every day. We're now inside National Portrait Gallery and hope to show you around a little bit as time permits. There is some exhibition installation in progress. So some artists are hanging their paintings, old paintings, and planning how to put that together. Look at this installation. What does it mean? We don't need to think about that today. Just enjoy the ride. Look at this portrait. This is just phenomenal thing. This is a huge collection of portraits. Ultimately, this is a portrait gallery. Wow, this is amazing. How good this installation is. And there are so many expressions altogether. This is a portrait of Jessica Mauboy. She is an extraordinary talent, Australian talent, and singer and actress as well. Yes, Olympian, Paralympian. Yeah, Ellie Cole. Ah, Campbell's. Do you like the portraits?
I could recognize them from a long distance.
But
because
Kate and Bronte, they are not at the same height. They have significantly different height. We just briefly visited the National Portrait Gallery, and inside there were like few very nice portraits like Ian Thorpe and Ellie Cole and also Campbell sisters. But in general, we found that very abstract, all the paintings, very modern, and the installations were almost like dark Mofu kind installations. But it's worth visiting. So from the High Court and the Portrait Gallery, we just walked through this walkway. This is the walkway arriving at the National Gallery of Australia. The building behind is the National Gallery of Australia. Such a wonderful arrangement. All are interconnected by these beautiful bridges. And we'll look around the National Gallery of Australia briefly, and hopefully you will love it. So this is also an exhibit. Okay. Cars are our canvas, creating a sense of motion even at a standstill is at the heart of our design philosophy. Okay. Visiting National Gallery of Australia is definitely a top thing that you can do in Canberra. We just booked a ticket, a free tour ticket at 10:30, and the guide will take us around the collections, and that will be an interesting way of learning it in a limited time, because if you roam around on your own, sometimes you don't know the information or you don't have enough knowledge. So taking the free tour is always advisable, because that's the best way to get the gist, and then you go into more detailed tour. We're entering an exhibition called Ever Present. This is predominantly focusing on Aboriginal artworks. Look at these paintings in my background. It's called Treasure Island. So Australia is treated as a treasure island. That implies not only the Aboriginal artwork, but also the Treasure Island connection, like piracy and stealing, and that still continues today. So this Aboriginal artwork is called Treasure Island. National Gallery of Australia has the largest number of collections, artworks by Aboriginal artists. Can you feel this painting as a 3D effect? It has got a 3D effect, so maybe you can concentrate and find that 3D effect. Although this is a 2D painting. Look at this mask. This is actually a mask from Torres Strait Island, and I cannot imagine someone is wearing this, but this is a shark, and the design is done by an artist from Torres Strait Island, top of Australia. So how wonderful this is. This is just a fantastic piece of artwork. So we have finally found some Tasmanian connection. These are necklace made with mariner shell, and these are done by original Aboriginal women of Tasmania. They used to collect this from the sea and then burn them and polish them to get this green color, and then they used to make this necklace. So this is a traditional necklace that used to be worn by Tasmanian women in Tasmania. And so Lola Greenough is an artist from Tasmania. She has made this beautiful necklace following the traditional methods. Look at these paintings. Extraordinary. I think Aboriginal artists are not just using dot paintings and different basic colors. They're using very colorful methods, and they're trying to accommodate modern viewers as well. Wow, this hall is looking exquisite. So vast, and with all these modern artifacts and artworks. So gigantic. This is really nice place, isn't it? The portraits and all the paintings are just extraordinary. And the interior ambience is also very attractive, very peaceful, and you just take your time and enjoy the paintings. Look at this particular image. This painting is done by Russell Drysdale, an Australian artist. And this is a very famous painting called Drover's Wife. Look at the expression on her face, and she's carrying probably a suitcase, but we were told this is a water can. What is drover? What's the profession? They used to drove all the cattle from the market to the property, or from one property to another, and they will be on the road for weeks. And so this is summer in New South Wales, country New South Wales, and there is nothing much to eat, I suppose. And so this is a very famous painting of a drover's wife looking for water and food, perhaps. Amazing. This is a famous painting by Australian icon Sidney Nolan. Look at this painting, this artwork rather, in my background by Rosalie Gascoigne. She was from New Zealand and she moved to Canberra in 1940s with her 3 young kids, and her husband used to work in an observatory in Canberra. So she had a very isolated life, nothing else to do. So what she did, she was very innovative. She decided to take all the artifacts and items people normally throw away and took them to create artwork like cardboard, steens. And so this is called a Suddenly the Lake. So if you drive from Canberra to Sydney, suddenly after hills and grounds you find Lake George appear suddenly, and that's what she created here. So there is all these hills, nothing to see, and then suddenly you have the lake, and then you continue. So that's why it's called Suddenly the Lake. That was fascinating walkthrough of these Australian artworks and legendary Australian artists. So we came down one level, and this is more of an international artwork. So we'll just briefly go through this, and it will be fascinating, equally good, no doubt. Here we have a original painting by Claude Monet, Impressionist, and look at this. If we go a little bit behind, then it becomes visible. I think these are all water lilies here. Look at the interior, it's just so nicely presented. Very contrasting colors and different artwork and paintings by international artists. Look at the background painting, very masterpiece. And look at these artwork. They're such different contrasting scenarios. This is done by various Aboriginal artists. They have installed various totems representing their regional or their society or their tribe. And from upstairs I was thinking that these are all didgeridoos, but no, they're not didgeridoos, they're totem. There are 200 of them between 1788 and 1988. That was the 200 years of occupation of Australia with white people, and so they represented those 200 years by installing one totem for each of the years. So we have got 200 totems here, and this is fascinating. Although they look like very similar to didgeridoos, but they are not didgeridoos, they are totems. Fascinating, and we can walk through these artwork. It is an amazing place. Look at this artwork once more. And this side we have somebody's family tree. Imagine this, your family tree, just almost not readable. So this is the family tree of some Aboriginal. So that was the end of our tour of National Gallery of Australia. Hope you enjoyed this extraordinary place, and if you are visiting Canberra, you must book this free tour, and then you can spend the whole day here exploring different artwork. National Museum of Australia is our probably the last stop that we're going to do, and that is going to be one of the top things that you can do in Canberra. Look at the name of this road, No Name Lane. We're now going through ANU campus, Australian National University campus, towards the museum. So we are going through the campus, Australian National University campus. This is really beautiful campus. We have seen wonderful campuses in England when we did our studies and PhDs, and this is equally good, very nicely sprayed, and all the buildings are very nice. The whole campus is across this lake Burley Griffin, and we can see and follow the lake. Beautiful campus. Now we are arriving at National Museum of Australia. So we just arrived at the National Museum of Australia, and that was a fantastic ride, a short bus ride from the city, fantastic bus ride through the ANU campus, Australian National University. And now this is one of the extraordinary museums that we have in Canberra, and again it's absolutely free, so you can just enter and enjoy the museum. What a wonderful setup we have in Canberra here. Look at this in our background. That's very iconic structure that indicates the National Museum of Australia, and it is very easily visible from anywhere in Canberra. It's a very iconic structure, and that's the National Museum of Australia. Look, we can see our own reflection here, and this is a very nice way of welcoming you to the museum. Wow, what a wonderful design across the road and surrounded. Oh, this is really big, wide and vast. Look at how big this is. It's quite open, very nice, and it has got a lot of exhibition halls and shows that you can attend. Holden sedan, that's actually Australian icon. So this museum is all about Australian lifestyle, Australian icons, Australian people. This is the museum shop. And we have a very nice dinosaur looking at us. And this dinosaur is called Muttaburrasaurus. This is a very nice thing. It's a defining moments in Australian history, and this is an interactive wall, so you can touch and that will give you some indication of some history. So I just touched a boomerang and it's giving you the details, artwork and the history. So that's wonderful. This is Tasmanian tiger. Oh, it's making noise. Wow. Now we're entering the gallery section. So we have entered the gallery of Great Southern Land. Wow, this is very, very nice ambience. All the sounds are just amazing. Rocks of ages. Wow. Oh, we can see a massive crocodile. Wow, these massive dolphins are playing and hanging from the ceiling. Wow, brilliant. What a beautiful orientation and interior decoration. It's an amazing place. It's just beautiful. I mean, you can spend whole day reading all this history and different aspect of Aboriginal life and how humanity developed over 60,000 years in Australia, because we always concentrate on last 200 years of history, but we have much more richer history and heritage than that. Rainbow Serpent. It's like an artwork, but looking gorgeous in this dark background. Oh, we have a virtual reality museum. Closed? Okay. Look at this section. Although the VR museum is closed, looking through these red glasses, looking through Canberra, it looks like now we're on Mars and we have developed maybe a new Canberra, and on Mars we live on Mars and that's all red. We are now going through that live home and kin section to the other part of the gallery. Wow, this is fantastic. Extraordinary. Oh, so this is a section on Tasmanian grasslands, and that was the model of Tasmanian tiger that was howling at me when I pressed the picture of Tasmanian tiger. Now we're at the Uluru Rock, Ayers Rock, the red center. This is real life size termite mounds. We always fascinated with these termite mounds when we visited in Kakadu National Park. Extraordinary, and they have made a life size structure of that mount here. Oh, this is just a fascinating place. If you really want to learn about Australian biodiversity, development of humanity in this great continent, this is the place. That's why it's National Museum of Australia. Inside the National Museum of Australia, it was quite vast, and with this iconic Holden cars and amazing skeleton of dinosaur, the ambience is just fantastic. It's a heaven for the children, school children, and there are a lot of school children. So we have seen a lot of children around Canberra visiting all these amazing museums, and so we are loving it. So I imagine that the children's also loving them. After just a short stroll, we came to this Lake Burley Griffin, and look at this panorama. What a beautiful sight this is. All these National Museum, National Library is there, and then on that side we have Capitol Hill, the federal parliament that we visited yesterday. So what a fantastic setting that we have. And just 5 minutes ago I was looking at a ferry or a cruise, a small boat that was going through as a cruise. I think that was the cruise that we thought we'll do, an 1 hour cruise on the lake. But then we took the ferry from Kingston foreshore to Floreat on Sunday. So we thought maybe we don't need another cruise on this lake. But in general, it's been a fantastic time in Canberra. We loved everything, public transport, and all the museums are free, and beautiful sceneries all around. Highlights was the view of Canberra from Mount Ensley, and it is very livable, and so we enjoyed immensely visiting Canberra for a few days.